What's up guys? It's been a while since I've made a video, but today I'm back with a cool install that will hopefully help some of you guys out, especially some of you guys that are going like wide body or maybe doing some kind of like race stuff. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to install extended lug bolts. So the ones that I'm installing, like you can see, they're not much different. They're only just for a 5mm spacer, but most of the time that you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing this so you guys can get like 25mm spacers or 30mm spacers so you guys can run wide bodies on your FRS BRZ 86. Like I said, I haven't been here for a while. This is the first video I've done in like probably a month because I was on vacation. If you guys follow my Instagram, you would have seen that. I posted some pretty cool stories. If you're not following my Instagram, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you should be following it. Just saying. Really quick though, shout out to some of my sponsors. I want to give a shout out to Auto Nirvana. They make awesome clothing. This is not their shirt because I don't want to get their shirt dirty. It's just too cool for that. But they make awesome clothing that represents our lifestyle, meaning the car lifestyle. Check them out. Really, really nice stuff and really high quality gear. Second, FRS Engineering. FRS Engineering has built all the aero that's on my car. It's all super high quality, easy to install, and has a ton of data to support it. The last thing that I want to tell you guys about is one that's a new sponsor that I think I've mentioned before, but today we're actually going to be installing these so I can put on their wheels. They're Apex race parts. They build wheels mostly for BMWs, some Porsches, and some Mustang, but they also build really nice wheels for our FRS BRZ 86, that kind of stuff. So check them out because they have really nice race-oriented, lightweight wheels. I fulfilled on my legal obligations, so let's get to this install. So as you guys can see, I've removed the wheel. This is the wheel well, but other than that, this is everything that you'd find on your car when you take off the wheel. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is removing this brake caliper. So the first thing that you're going to do is take off the brake caliper, and the way you're going to do that is you're going to use a 17mm socket, and you're going to remove 2 screws that are behind the caliper, which I'll show you right now. So this is the behind of the caliper. This is not the screw right here. This is not the screw that you're going to be undoing. This is the screw you undo to put new brake pads. But if you see, there's a second screw back here. That's the screw that you're going to be undoing. And then there's a second one corresponding to it on the bottom of the car, or on the bottom of the caliper. So now that I've removed the 2 bolts, the caliper is still stuck on the disc, but if you pull it, it'll come off. Even you don't need to release the e-brake because the e-brake only works for the back 2 wheels. So this one you just need to pull it because it's kind of like gripping on the caliper right now. So just start pulling it. And it comes off. Then you can set the caliper on the lower control arm, which is the big piece of metal behind it. Make sure that it doesn't fall, because if it falls, it could pull the brake line fluid, or the brake line, and then it'd spill the fluid and everything. So now we need to get the brake disc off. Now there's a really easy way to do this, even if your brake disc is seized on. So first you need to find this bolt. Now I think it's an M8 1.25 bolt. So you're gonna need to find this bolt, put it through this hole. Now you can do this with 1 bolt, but I'm doing 2. So pretty much what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the bolt in as hard as it can, and then you're gonna start to loosen it. And then you go to the other one and you start to loosen it. Now if you only have 1 bolt, then just switch the bolt from this hole to this hole and then back and back every time you go. So this one, and this one, and we're pretty much free. There we go. And then it comes right off. There's nothing else holding the brake disc onto these. It may appear so because it's so hard to get off, but it's just like rusted onto this. So if you have the screws, this is the easiest method. If you don't have the screws, just hit it with a hammer and like pull it with screwdrivers. It's a pain. Now this is what your wheel well should look like after you've removed the brake disc. Keep in mind this is for the front and not for the rear. I'd imagine that the rear is the same, but I haven't done it, so I can't say. Anyway, so this is what you're left with. Now these bolts are what you're gonna be trying to get off. So now you're gonna take the lug bolt that you had on your wheels, like just like your normal one. It could even be the stock one. This is just the one that I have. And you're gonna screw it onto here, or drop it. Now screw it on like halfway down. It doesn't really matter, just as long as it has enough thread to hold. Now you're gonna take your hammer, and then after a while of hitting it, it just pops out. Now you can remove this. Fair warning, if you don't use a rubber mallet, it will slightly like F up your lug bolts, but like if my silver one, like it looks the same, plus this is a race car. So, yep. So now this is off. And now you're just gonna do that to the rest of them. and then we're gonna start installing the new ones. Now, if you guys are at all concerned about damaging your bearings on the car by hitting the lug bolts with a hammer, we have an alternative for you guys. This is something that you need a bit more tools than just a hammer, but we'll show you guys. It'll definitely save your bearings if you're concerned about that. So what you're gonna need is a large vice grip like this one, and then you're going to need to remove the wheel bearing off of the car. So this is the wheel bearing that we were working with earlier. The way to get this out is if you look on the back, there's 4 14mm bolts, and you're going to need to remove them. You have pretty easy access on the back side of where the wheel's sitting on the car. One more side note for removing the bearing, you're going to also need to remove this sensor, which is the ABS sensor. Now it goes through this hole right here. You just use a 10mm socket to pull out the bolt right there. It slides out and then you can pull this out. So now what you're gonna need is some kind of wrench or anything like this that fits around the back of the bolt and leaves a bit of room. Now once we actually show you guys how to do this, you guys will understand why you need this part. So let's set it up and show you. So now you can see I've locked the bearing into the vice grip. Now the pressure is on one of the bolts, and then on the back side, it's this, whatever tool you can find that creates a hole around the back side of the bolt. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna tighten this vice grip, pushing this bolt inward, and the space that's created by whatever tool you use to create that hole is where this is gonna start going, and it's just gonna pop out. So now, as you can see, this just pops out. Just like getting out the bolts, I'm gonna show you guys 2 ways to put in the new bolts. Now this is the first way, and it's using a similar technique to the one that we did for the second way to get out the bolts earlier in the video. So now you're gonna take the bearing removed from the car, just like we had it before. You're gonna take your new bolts, put one of the new bolts in, make sure it's going the correct direction. And then we're gonna take this, which is a longer socket. It doesn't really matter what size, as long as it fits around the bearing. And then we're gonna put it inside the vice grips and tighten the vice grips so that it pushes this one in. So this is the bearing position inside the vice grips. As you can see, it's pushing pressure from this side on the back of the bolt and this side on the back of this. So now we're gonna tighten this part, just like how we got out the other ones, and they'll be in. Now for the other method to get the bolt in. Now this is going to be the last one on mine since I did all the rest with the press, but this is one that works just as well, and I don't believe it'll damage your bearings at all. So take the final bolt, put it through, and now you're gonna need a bunch of washers that are all able to fit around here without accidentally hitting this ring. Next, you're gonna take one of your bolts, put the bolt around, and now you're gonna take an impact wrench, put it around this, and then you're just going to tighten it until it pulls it all the way in. Now that method is really loud, so remember to wear hearing protection, and also the way to know that it's done is the impact wrench will kind of start struggling a bit more, and also you can see on the back that it's done. So after that, you just pull off the bolt, pull off the washers, and we're done. So that's how you install the extended lug nuts or even stock size lug nuts in your car. It's super simple. You can do it with as little tools as a normal car guy would have, or more tools, since I showed you guys both methods for how to do it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you guys subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. If you guys have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.